Salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be giving a bunch of novella recommendations. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. Today is actually the start of the Novellathon. If you don't know what the Novellathon is, it is a read-along that I host with my dear friends, Tiffany from Tiff Talks Pages, Ava from Ava's Romance Books, and Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings. We all love novellas, which is basically any book under 200 pages. I love a romance novella. I love a cozy mystery novella. I love when it's like super sweet, super steamy. Just give me all of the novellas. I tend to do this kind of like seasonally. We've done a Valentine's Day one, we did a Halloween one, and now we're doing a Christmas one. So today is the first day of the Novellathon. It starts on the 14th to the 17th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. I have it together, guys. I have it together. I promise. I know what I'm doing. I'm very professional, okay? 14th through the 17th, okay? So I thought it would be perfect to kind of like fit this into Vlogmas. I'll probably vlog the books that I read during the week, but I wanted to give you guys some recommendations because we do have different prompts. Those like fun, different slides on Instagram. Tiffany always makes our graphics and she's so freaking talented. And just to like make it fun, we have a buddy pick as well as different prompts that you can do a bingo board with. So I thought I would take each prompt and give you some recommendations if you still need some. First, let me talk about the buddy pick. We're going to be reading Trick Shot by Kayla Grassi. I've already read this and I absolutely adored it because it's a poly romance, and you guys know my mantra here on this channel is more people, more fun. I love poly romances. This is a romance between two girls and one guy. Our heroine is headed home for the holidays, but there is a major storm that is delaying her plane. Our hero's Leo is also on that same plane, so his flight is delayed. Hero Leo is an identical twin. His twin is a professional hockey player that is very famous. So our heroine actually sees him in the airport and mistakes him for his brother. It's a little messy because there's a little bit of like mistaken identity here, but they have crazy chemistry. So she ends up going back to his place for a one-night stand, but when she gets there, his best friend is also there. So she spends some steamy nights with him and his best friend Jace. Let me tell you guys, this one is so spicy. There may or may not be some really interesting things happening with Christmas ornaments, you know, very spicy, very steamy, a fun holiday read, perfect length as well. Meaning it was 196 pages, which is like just right under that 200 page mark that I consider a novella. So I just thought it was perfect. That's what we're going to be buddy reading. And we also are going to be interviewing the author on Ava's channel on the 17th. All of the live show information will be on our Instagram pages. We do have some prompts to kind of guide you guys for your bingo board. So I'm going to quickly give you recommendations for those. The first prompt is a snowed in romance. This is the prompt that I have the most recommendations for. I have like 5 books to recommend you. So the first one is Christmas Spirit by Ali Reichardt. This is a male romance that has a little bit of like fantastical element to it. Our hero is a little bit older. He's like this world-renowned chef, and then the other hero is pretty young and he kind of like washes the dishes and is a busboy, and they don't really get along. There's kind of like an enemies to lovers vibe. Well, they're both headed home for the holidays, so they decide to take the same car together, but as they are driving, there's like this massive snowstorm and they have to go to the first hotel that they see. I get to this hotel, it's practically abandoned, and they're just like in this winter wonderland, and they're snowed in. They spend the holidays together. It is so cute. It has so many tropes in here. You have enemies to lovers, age gap, forced proximity, snowed in, office romance, grumpy sunshine, like literally so many different tropes. I really did like this one. Next one that I really love is Let It Snow by Casey Cross. This is a cute friends to lovers romance. Our characters have grown up together. Their parents were best friends. They're in college. They both went to the same college out of state, but our hero is deciding to move back home. So this is like the first time that they're not going to be in the same state, or they're not going to be around each other all the time. So they decided to have like one last hurrah and do a big road trip back home for Christmas. But as they're driving, they get stuck in a snowstorm. They have to camp out at a little Christmas hotel. The vibes are so good, and our hero is so sweet. He's a little cinnamon roll hero. I absolutely adore him. The next one actually has a cinnamon roll hero as well, and that is Stocking Stuffers by Erin McLennan. This is a grumpy sunshine pairing where our heroine is the grumpy one and our hero is the sunshine. This one, our heroine works for a company that sells sex toys, and right before the holidays she is hired to go to like this annual book club and sell her products. The book club is a romance book club, and when she gets there she meets our hero, who is is a part of this club. His sister owns like the bed and breakfast that they're staying at, and they end up getting snowed in. Our heroine is a massive Grinch. She does not like the holidays whatsoever. Like years ago, she was supposed to get married on Christmas, but her fiance left her at the altar. So she's a little traumatized, and now she's at this hotel that's all Christmas themed. But she has a little connection with our hero. This is a submissive hero and a dominant heroine, and they have tons of fun with all the toys that she has in her little bag, okay? This one is spicy, sweet, cute, and also has the snowed in trope. Lastly, I have a fan fiction recommendation for you, and it's called Snowfall by Sinlin Yu. This is the same author who writes Manacled, and also one of my favorite Omega verses called All You Want. Writes a lot of Hermione fan fiction, and that's what this one is, Draco and Hermione. This one is different from the other novellas because it's not really a full novella. It's kind of just like a one-shot slice of life situation. It follows Draco and Hermione after they get married and they're spending their first holiday season together. They feel really torn because they have such different friend groups and they're getting invited to all of these different events. Doesn't seem like they can do everything, but also doesn't seem like they can spend time with one another. They decide that they're just going to enjoy the holidays together. There's a little bit of a snowstorm going on and they get snowed in. They put their wands away and they just have some fun steamy times in this cute little cabin. Absolutely adorable. I loved it. So if you like fan fiction, this was a good one. But you guys, I have a lot of recommendations for that trope, but let's move on. The next trope is forced proximity, and I have a couple for that. One of my favorites is Silent Night by Casey Mint. This is a mafia romance novella. She does have a couple of different mafia romances set during Christmas time. It's called her Merry Mob series, but the second book in the series, Silent Night, is the one that has a forced proximity trope. Her heroine is basically like a mafia princess. Her older brother is a mob boss. It's kind of like hopelessly been pining for her brother's best friend who is their doctor, and he also kind of likes her, but it's a little bit forbidden because her brother's a literal mafioso. It ends up being a hit on like the whole family, so the two of them have to go to a safe house and they spend the time together during the holidays in this little safe house, forced proximity. They just can't resist their feelings for each other. So I really liked the little forced proximity forbidden aspect to it. It was a lot of fun. Another one that has forced proximity is called Sweater Weather by Laura Lee M. Hart. This is an Omega verse. Also a male-male romance. One of our heroes is an Omega and his absolute dream has been to own his own bed and breakfast. His aunt just recently passed away right before the holiday time and he inherited her bed and breakfast. The hero, who is an alpha, is traveling for the holidays, but all the hotels are booked, flights are getting canceled, and he's like desperately looking for a room. So that is how he goes into the bed and breakfast and asks if he can stay there. There really is no room, but our hero, who is the Omega, ends up offering his own room. We have a one bed trope in here, which is also really fun, and they end up kind of just like running this bed and breakfast together even though they just met. So cozy, so sweet. I love a good Omegaverse. Next prompt that we have is a BIPOC author, and I have a couple of different ones. The first one, I absolutely love this author, and that's Adriana Herrera. She's one of my favorite authors of all time. I just love her writing. I love her energy. I just love her. Every time I see her at a book signing, I always cry because I just adore her. One of my favorite Christmas romances is Mangoes and Mistletoes. If you like the British Bake Show, then you're going to love this book. This one is a sapphic romance. Our two heroines are competing in a baking competition, very similar to the British Bake Show, and it's an enemies to lovers vibe. They don't really get along at first, especially because they're competing against each other, but one of the challenges requires them to partner up, so they have to work together to win this competition, and it follows their romance. I love it. It's amazing. Another book to read is Spiked Hot Chocolate by Ridley Adams. She's another one of my favorite novella authors. This one is a single parent romance. So in this one, our heroine gets dumped by her fiance right after Thanksgiving, and she's not really heartbroken because she kind of knew that they just weren't each other's persons. She decides that she wants to spend the holiday season by herself. She doesn't want to explain her breakup. She just wants to enjoy her own time. So she decides she wants to spend the holiday by herself. Our hero also is finding himself alone during the holidays. He is a single parent and he was supposed to have his daughter for the holidays. His ex-wife ends up having like an event that she really wants her daughter at, and he lets her have the daughter during the holidays. Both alone, and the way they kind of meet is that they're both at this restaurant that's really, really busy, so they end up getting seated at the same table, and there is such an immense chemistry between the two of them that they immediately decide to spend the holidays together, and it's so freaking cute and steamy and wonderful, and I adore it. And another BIPOC author that would fit in this prompt is Talia Hibbert. She has a couple of novellas, but my favorite is Mary Inkmiss. So in this one, our heroine works at a coffee shop, and our hero really doesn't even drink coffee, but he goes in there just to see her because he is just like absolutely enamored by her, thinks she's so beautiful. And one day he goes in there and actually ends up seeing her get fired, and he feels kind of responsible for the situation that happened. So he offers her a job. He is a tattoo artist who owns his own shop, and he offers her to be his secretary. But once she starts working with him, they start to get to know each other, and it follows their romance. Office romance. We have a bad boy hero. They spend the holidays together. It's really cute. Next prompt that we have is any book with disability rep, and the one that I recommend is The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Leese. So in this one, our heroine is on the spectrum and our hero has type 1 diabetes. Both work at an indie bookshop, and this is a grumpy sunshine pairing. They are completely different. Our heroine is like sunshine personified. Hero is a little bit more quiet and shy and kind of grumpy, but they both work at this bookstore, and they just don't get along. They bicker a lot. In the holidays, the owners of the bookshop tell them that they might have to close because sales aren't doing that great. So our two characters really want to save the bookshop. So they decide that they're going to have a competition on who can sell the most books, and the person who can sell the most books ends up getting to stay at the bookshop. So a little bit of a competition going on, but it follows their romance as they're really coming together to save this bookshop that they both love so much. Loved this one. This one had such great representation. It also had such good communication between our characters. It was sweet, it was spicy, it was such a well-rounded novella. I highly recommend it. This prompt is any book that has LGBTQ rep. I've already mentioned a few that would fall under this prompt, like Christmas Spirit or Sweater Weather or Mangoes and Mistletoes, but I do have a couple more. One of my favorites is the remaking of Corbin Whale by Roan Parrish. This is a male-male romance that is actually set during Hanukkah. Don't celebrate Christmas, you can absolutely still participate in this novellathon because it's holiday themed. So if you want to read a Hanukkah romance, this one is a really good one. This book starts off by following one of our heroes, Alex, whose life is kind of like flipped upside down. He breaks up with his boyfriend, he quits his job, and he decides that he's going to move back to his hometown. His dream has always been to own his own bakery, so that's what he does. His mom owned a coffee shop, so he bought it from her to open his own bakery. There he meets our hero, Corbin Whale. The second that he meets Corbin, he can tell he is so special and so magical. This book does have a little bit of like magical realism in it, but the entire town is saying that Corbin is weird and strange, but Alex knows that he's none of those things and he is perfect exactly the way he is, so he ends up befriending him. This book is so magical and unique and romantic, like one of the most romantic books I've ever read. I highly recommend it. And the next recommendation I have is Set the Record Straight by Hannah Bottom Young. This is a sapphic romance. If you guys watched the video where I read a novella every day for a month, I raved about this book. Like, I love it so freaking much. I keep saying like all these books are my favorite, but they really are. Like, I'm putting all the best recommendations in this video, but this one, so good. It's a friends to lovers romance. I adore it. It's perfect. I can't even describe it without smiling. The book follows our two heroines who are childhood best friends. One of our heroines went through a really, really bad breakup, and she actually dated one of her co-workers who cheated on her with another co-worker. Okay? Now they're having their office Christmas party, and she doesn't want to show up to the Christmas party alone, so she ends up propositioning her straight best friend to pretend to be her date, and they end up going to the party together. Our other heroine also has like Christmas parties that she needs to go to as well, and she doesn't want to show up alone, so they end up fake dating during the holidays, but it follows the romance. The next prompt we have is holiday in the title, so that could literally mean anything. It could say holiday in the title, it could say Christmas, it could say Hanukkah, whatever. It's up to your interpretation. Yeah, I picked a book that had Christmas in the title, so the one I'm recommending is called Once Upon a Christmas Carol. This one is an Audible original, and the audiobook is amazing. This one is super cool. It is free if you have an Audible membership, and the production value is amazing because it is a fully narrated it's a fully God, I can't talk. It's a fully narrated. Why does that sound so weird? It's fully casted, okay? There is a different narrator for each character. You can even hear like background noise, Christmas carols. Obviously the title is like a huge part of this book, so they even sing. It's so cozy. So in this one, our heroine is a rock star that was really popular because of a Christmas album that she came out with. Doesn't really love the holidays anymore. She's kind of feeling a little Grinch-like, if you will, and she ends up receiving this mysterious letter that is asking her to come back to her hometown, which is a very small town, and she does. So when she gets there, she ends up getting all of these different letters, and it turns into a scavenger hunt. She reconnects with her ex-boyfriend from high school, and together they like follow all these different clues, finds her inspiration for music. Her ex-boyfriend has a daughter, he's a single parent, and she has such a cute relationship with his daughter, and it's just so cute and cozy. If you like Hallmark movies, you'll love this one. And the last prompt is any book with red, green, or blue in the cover, so holiday colors. Literally every book that I talked about has those colors in it, but I would recommend, since we're talking about Audible originals, I would recommend the Winter Night series by Liz Maverick. There are 3 books in this series called 8 Winter Nights, Bright Winter Nights, and On a Night Like This. Series that follows a large group of friends in New York during Hanukkah. They all celebrate Hanukkah, and it's so cute. Again, it's an Audible original. Kind of gives the show like Friends vibes a little bit because it follows this friend group in New York, all of their different romances during the holidays, and I absolutely love it. I know what you guys are reading for the Novellathon. I hope you guys are enjoying all of these Vlogmas videos, and that's it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye!